Epiphany, we let ourselves be captivated again by the story of the wise men, the Magi from the East. Not much is known about them. As you just heard in the Gospel of Matthew, there's very few details about these wise ones. We don't know their names, but tradition eventually gave them 3 names: Caspar, Melchior, and Balthazar. Matthew never says there were 3 of them, actually, but it's a nice Trinitarian number. And there were 3 gifts, so maybe that's how it became to be, the legend of the 3 wise men. Matthew tells us that they are wise, that they are from the East, and that they came to see King Herod. They asked Herod where to find the child who would be king of the Jews because they'd seen a star in the sky. A new star, one that seemed to beckon them. Come this way, something amazing is waiting. And we know that they wanted to find this child and pay homage to him, despite being Gentiles or not Jewish folks. We know that when they found him, that they bowed down, that they were filled with joy. It was an epiphany, a discovery. We know they gave him 3 symbolic gifts. And I didn't know this as a child. It seemed every year I had to ask somebody what myrrh was, because I thought, is that something a baby needs? But no, these gifts are very symbolic. Gold, obviously, is a gift fit for a king. Frankincense or incense is the thing you light in church to symbolize God's presence and the prayers that are lifting up. And myrrh is an oil used to bless the dead. So foreshadowing, myrrh is a gift for someone who's going to die. Very symbolic. We know that these wise men had a dream warning them not to return to Herod, who probably didn't actually want to give homage to the child, but to get rid of a threat to his power. So they had a dream. I imagine an angel, maybe the same angel that appeared to Mary, showing up in their dreams with a warning. Danger. Turn around. This way is not safe. And so the Magi from the East returned home by another way. This warning was another kind of epiphany, a discovery of something they needed to change. Yesterday, I had to get home by another way because Kitsap Way was shut down. I couldn't see anything other than the little detour signs and a police car and a long stretch of empty road. So I had no clue what was going on, but I knew I couldn't get home the way I was used to driving, and I knew I had a terrible, almost debilitatingly bad sense of direction, despite living in this neighborhood for almost 10 years. I eventually had to give up and turn on Google Maps because I kept turning too early and then running into another roadblock. Danger, don't come this way. It turned out that there was a car accident that hit a building that caused a gas leak, so they had to block off entire blocks and evacuate multiple stores to keep people safe. So those detour signs gave me the warning I needed. Stop, don't come this way. Turn around. This way is not safe. It's important to pay attention to signs like these when we see them, both the literal ones like road signs or police cars blocking the way, or metaphorical ones too, like dreams that you might get or gut feelings that come along. These are these 2 kinds of epiphanies. Sometimes an epiphany will light the way to something new and exciting. Come this way. Something exciting, something amazing is waiting for you, just like that star over Bethlehem. Other times, an epiphany is a warning, like foreboding dreams or detour signs. Danger, turn around. This way is not safe. In 2018, one of the southern resident orcas in the J pod, named Tahlequah by the scientists who study them, caught international attention because she spent 17 days mourning the death of her calf by carrying her on her nose as she swam through the ocean. Almost 1,000 miles and almost 3 weeks of this really visible display of mourning. And while other whales had been seen doing this before, this sort of behavior after losing a calf, maybe a day or two, the fact that she did it for so long and for so far was very unusual, and scientists were alarmed, concerned, not only for the health of the whales in general, but for her specifically, because by doing this, she couldn't forage for food, and she was wearing herself out. She'd have to come to the surface, take a breath, the water would wash away the calf, and then she had to dive to pick the calf back up again, and then keep going. And eventually the other whales stepped in to help her, and they would take turns carrying the body, or they would bring her food so that she could focus on carrying the calf. And it was this really amazing display of animal behavior that the scientists hadn't quite documented before. Captured all of our attention back then. And I bring this up to you because just a few days ago, we saw that the same whale had lost another calf, another female, and she had started carrying the body of that calf again. And so both now and in 2018, it seemed as if Tahlequah, the orca whale, was trying to give us a kind of epiphany, to turn around, to go a different way, because the way we are on was no longer safe. If we don't change what we're doing, there's only 73 orcas left in the southern resident pods, and they really are critically endangered, and they're on a path towards extinction. So in a way, when I see her carrying the calf again, I guess another plea for help, to turn around, do something different. They need our help. The path they're on is not viable. They want to give us an epiphany. On the Feast of Epiphany, just like the wise men from the East and their dreams, sometimes we are reminded that we have to find a new way to go, a new path to take. So the one we are on is not safe. Just like the Magi followed that star, we sometimes see signs appear in our lives that beckon us to something new and wonderful. When I was going down this orca rabbit hole this week, I found a documentary about salmon, and there's a whole movement to focus on rebuilding the population of salmon, because in doing so, that will save the whales. One of the reasons they're not surviving is that they don't have enough to eat. And so here was this point of hope. There was this clear path outlined by the scientists on here's a way we could actually turn around what we've done and save these animals that are displaying these really emotional behaviors. It's another kind of epiphany. One of my traditions for Epiphany, which if you were here last year, you got to participate in, and this year we'll do it again. I like to choose a star word. So Epiphany and the season of Epiphany about the star of Bethlehem and the Magi following that star. And so a star word is just a word you focus on throughout the year. And there's a couple ways you can do it. You can pick one randomly. You can choose one yourself. Or like me, I have a basket of them, and I'll have them at the door on your way out. And I just picked one until I found the one. There's no judgment. You get to do it however you want. And so you might wonder, okay, Hilary, what word did you choose? If you haven't read the newsletter or the happenings, you might not have heard. But the word I chose for this year is prayer. It was the fourth little star I pulled from the basket, and I knew instantly that that was the one that I needed to have that year. It felt like an epiphany to me because I felt such excitement and hope. How many of us pray less than we might want because we're not really sure what to do, or we haven't found a way of prayer that will hold our attention or that feels meaningful, or we just forget? I know I have been in all of those categories at various points in my life. And so when I pulled this word, prayer, I felt excited about all the potential ways we can learn and pray and discover ways of prayer together. In a way, pulling that star was the same feeling, perhaps, on a smaller scale that the wise men felt when they saw that star over Bethlehem. Come this way. Something amazing is waiting. And perhaps we will learn to pray not just with our hearts and our words, but with our feet as well. And in that way, we can find ways to turn the path, to turn around the path we are on, and not only save Wales, but save the world so that our children and grandchildren will have a place to learn and discover and play together. May it be so. Amen. I invite you to rise in body or in spirit, and let us affirm our faith using the words of the Nicene Creed.